Funny story about Sandeep. I'm going to do this, Sandeep. So I started at Kenshu in January, and I was on my first day, and shaking hands with everybody. Hi, I'm John. Hi, I'm so and so. And I ran into Sandeep, and I introduced myself. I put my hands out, and he just gives me a big bear hug. And I thought, this is an eccentric fellow. But I've since gotten to know him a bit, and I knew it was all heart and real, and I really appreciate that about you. So I'm going to set this up a bit. I'm John Dobrowolski. I'm the general manager of social at Kenshu. Thank you for bearing with us here. We're running a bit behind schedule, so we're going to shorten this session a little bit to 30 minutes. You're welcome. So let me set this up. The way humans are purchasing products and services has evolved rapidly and changed significantly over the last X years. In the last decade, we've seen e-commerce purchases triple as a share of retail sales in the US. Furthermore, we've seen 50% of growth coming from retail sales is coming online. So we've seen behemoths like Amazon capturing 35, 40% of market share. We have a bevy, hundreds of direct-to-consumer businesses that are powered by the internet, marketing-led, that have surfaced, some Kenshu customers that fit that bill, Peloton, Trunk Club, Stitch Fix went public last year, now valued at $2 billion. We're even seeing the publishers, businesses that we traditionally view as ads channels, Google, Facebook, getting directly into commerce themselves. So up is down, down is up. Everybody is playing in all these different lanes. And it's a really fascinating time. I think it's a really fascinating time to be in this business. It's part of the reason that I joined Kenshu, for all the work that we're doing kind of across these different channels. So what we're going to do is talk to a couple of companies that actually don't fit any of those categories. So we're going to talk to a couple of companies that were here pre-internet, and have done an incredible job of evolving their businesses over the last few years. So we're going to talk to Darren from Zenus and Melanie from the Home Depot. So we'll hear kind of a CPG point of view, marketer point of view, and a retail point of view as well. So to get us started, we're going to have Darren Wilson, VP of Marketing from Zenus, join us. Thank you. Please. Welcome to my living room.
Are we working? Yes.
I was hoping we could do this over whiskeys, but I was nixed on that. Yeah, that
kind of looks like whiskey right there.
That looks suspicious, doesn't it? It's iced tea. I'm having a whiskey. So maybe we could start by just giving us a quick sort of top-line introduction to Zenus. We'll obviously talk a lot about your business, but maybe we could just start there.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I'm Darren Wilson, VP of Marketing at Zenus. I've been at Zenus for about a year now, but working with Zenus for about 3 years. I started working with them when they were looking to make a transition to D2C, which we'll get into in a little bit, but from OEM kind of based business. Zenus is a 40-year-old company, so we're not new to our business, which is mattresses and furniture, e-commerce furniture. So we, 40-year-old business, and for the last 16, we've been focused on mattresses and furniture. Prior to that, actually we sold camping equipment, if you can believe it, so quite a transition. 2 years into the transition to mattresses and furniture, we decided e-commerce was the way to go, and compressing mattresses in a box actually would be the wave of the future, if you can believe that happened back in 2005 for us. So a number of years before Casper and Tuft & Needle and these guys came along. So we've been doing that for quite some time. Our last 4 years have seen us transition from OEM-based business to more of a direct-to-consumer model, and that's proved challenging for us for a number of different reasons.
That's amazing. Can you, I know it kind of predates you, but can you speak to how that decision and how that evolution of business model came about? And as you pointed out, predated a lot of the D2C brands that are getting a lot of credit in your space, but I'd love to hear a little more about that.
Yeah, sure. I think the founder of our company, TP Lee, he had this vision. He just assumed that there would be a better, smarter way of purchasing products online, and decided to dedicate his business to developing that. At the time, as an OEM, that meant manufacturing the products in a flat pack or compressed form, and then selling to what today continue to be some of our largest partners, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, these sort of folks.
Amazing. So today, when we were prepping, you were telling me a bit about how Zenus is a marketing-led company. And that's part of that evolution. Can you talk a little bit about like precisely what that means?
Yeah, I mean, as a direct-to-consumer company, obviously, marketing is enormous, right? I mean, it's one of the biggest things that we can be doing. As an OEM-based business back in the day, we did zero marketing, as you can imagine. It was a sales-based, relationship-based business. So transitioning from sales and sales to marketing has been super important for us. The transition is specifically for us is or has been around how we fundamentally create and design, develop our products, leaning into what the customers want and need and building backwards versus we have a capability in the factory. What do we produce and then where do we sell it via these third-party retailers? So fundamentally changing the way into our product development.
Okay. Can we talk a little bit about how your marketing organization is set up?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the biggest remits for me coming on board a year ago was actually to build the marketing team. For the past 3 or 4 years, even as a D2C brand, our marketing efforts largely contained to getting our products online through our third-party retailers. So getting those PDPs up online, number one thing to do. Actual marketing, crickets, right? There was not a lot of marketing going on. So that was number one thing for me to do was actually build a marketing discipline. So we've mapped out a 3-year plan as you would do, and we've started aggressively turning that ship around and adding disciplines that we never had before. So adding Kenshu on board to help a small team grow in that capability has been really important for us.
Great. So, I mean, I imagine we have some sense of the answer here, but maybe you could talk a bit about some of the key channels to your growth today. Where are consumers discovering Zenus mattresses? Where are you spending a lot of paid marketing dollars? A little more detail there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have a pretty general strategy, which is we want our products to be where most of the customers are shopping, right? So we're not limiting to our Zenus.com channel, which we have. Obviously, Amazon is a huge partner for us, which allows us to sell our branded pieces through Amazon. Then Walmart, Target, and these others, actually, we still produce sub-branded pieces. So there's still a side of our business that is a by Zenus, we call it now. So we're still trying to leverage and build some sort of brand recognition with our products, even if they're not on our own sites. So that's, yeah.
Got it. So when you're actually out there spending your paid marketing dollars, how does that fact that you kind of have your feet in both worlds, right? The traditional vendor relationship with retail and direct-to-consumer relationship, how does that factor into your marketing strategies? So, are you doing a lot of direct spending? Direct response spending? Are you mixing in sort of brand-oriented campaigns?
Yeah, great question. So for our OEM side of the business we still have, we consider them to benefit from our Zenus branded marketing. So we have now, in the last 2 years, really put an effort on bringing awareness to Zenus as a company, as a brand. The money we invest in that area, up and down the funnel, is definitely designed to bring awareness to all of our By Zenus brands as well. So we're currently focused on only marketing our Zenus brand, but we've seen a strong impact on our By Zenus products, to the point where some of our partners, where traditionally they've been a little shy to adopt the By Zenus moniker, have actually come to us as they've seen significant increases in search volume on the Zenus brand and asked to be added to the By Zenus portfolio.
That's interesting. So are they surfacing those insights themselves? Is that something that Zenus is servicing?
No, I mean, some of the times they've come to us with that insight when they've noticed that the sub-brand itself has now been out-searched by Zenus. And so if they're not facilitating that search, then they feel like they're losing hits and traffic. So some of them are actually coming to us now.
Fascinating. So you're doing distribution through your own website, through traditional retail partners, through internet native publisher or internet native stores like Amazon, big partner of yours. How do you even begin to think about, best channel, profitable channel, mixing across those distribution partners. Is that something that's on your mind now? Is something that you see as something you have to address later? How do you even begin to think about that?
Yeah, very much. I mean, our partners offer a wide landscape of customers, the types of people that buy from their own channels. So the types of products that service each of those channels can be quite different for us. So we definitely have a tiered product marketing strategy where we're developing into different styles of products, different types of products that are then designed for the specific channels. So that's one way that we're able to stay relatively customized to the specific channel from a product perspective.
Can we touch on Amazon for a moment?
Sure.
So, as I mentioned up top, Amazon is a distributor. You're selling product through Amazon, but they are now also an advertising channel. You can put some of your budget to drive further sales there. That's part of your marketing mix, as I understand it. So how do you think about that initiative as it relates to, let's say, other core paid channels like Google, like Facebook?
Yeah, Amazon is an interesting one from the advertising marketing perspective because they are definitely building out a quite aggressive ecosystem, as I'm sure many of you guys know. We actually started selling through Amazon our branded furniture and mattresses 4 years ago now. So we started selling there actually prior to even establishing our own .com. We quickly became the #1 mattress and platform bed retailer on Amazon. So if you search for mattresses or platform beds, you're going to see 14 or so of our results on that first page. So we were very successful on Amazon. The growth of that business on Amazon led to quite an aggressive investment from an advertising perspective. So we probably spend 30% plus of our budget on Amazon.
Wow. So 30% of your budget on Amazon. So in the early days before you had the .com, I lost my train of thought there. We'll come back to that. So let's talk about measurement as it relates, because that's kind of the perfect segue when you're thinking about these. So as we've talked about today, measurement in the walled gardens, so to speak, is increasingly challenging, surfacing new problems for marketers, new challenges to conquer. Where are you in that journey? Or what are you leveraging today? Where do you think you'll have to move to? Do you think you'll have to change things?
There's one of the biggest things that we've had to, I guess, grow within Zenus has been an understanding of who our customer is. As you can imagine, as an OEM, back in the day, we didn't really have an end customer. Our customer was Walmart or Target, etc. So those guys did a lot of the definition work as to the product that they wanted, needed, and who was going to buy that, right? That was done by their teams. We were manufacturing, so we didn't really have to be concerned so much with that. As a D2C brand, obviously, it's the #1 thing you have to be concerned with is knowing your customer. So that's led to us thinking through things, I think, very, very differently.
We've talked a little bit about incrementality measurement here today. Is that something that is on your radar?
I would like to say that we're as complex and mature as that, but right now we're really establishing ourselves.
Sure.
So we've yet to get into a lot of attribution modeling, to be honest.
I'm going to throw a curveball at you. So I mentioned up top as well that Facebook recently announced Instagram checkout as an option. It's in beta, but this is they're going to continue investing there. Other major technology companies are building solutions designed for businesses like yours, for retailers. How are you thinking about those opportunities? They're probably down the road, but is this something that you've looked at yet? Is it an intriguing option? How do you think about it?
I think very much. I mean, as an e-commerce only brand, I mean, getting people to experience our product is difficult and challenging. One way we try and do that was with enticing trial offers, enticing trial periods, trying to make that process as easy as possible, so that I think technology allowing a deeper experience with your product, even online, whether it's visualizing in room, being able to move around the product so you can see it more closely than you can in just a straight product, is something that we definitely are interested in and actually exploring quite closely. Shoppability is obviously another end of that. Every experience that we are looking at right now is designed to be shoppable.
Okay. So that leaves us with what's next. So as we've talked about, Zenus is laying groundwork in its marketing practices. We're at a time of a lot of tumult in terms of
Right.
Marketing options, and What are you excited about over the next 12 to 24 month horizon, whether it be at your business or within the industry in general?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because I think a lot of our competition are in an effort to close the gap between experiencing the product and touching it, where online you can't really do that, are expanding into brick and mortar in some capacity, whether that's traditional brick and mortar and owned branded stores, or if it's partnerships where they get to leverage an existing infrastructure. We, I guess, never say never, but for now, we're not exploring, brick and mortar, but we are definitely looking at ways to further that online experience. So 3D, AR, VR are definitely, I think, technologies that are emerging that will allow us to do that. So as we heard earlier and saw earlier in the Verizon demo, those shoppable ads that allow you to be more immersive, I think, are something that we're definitely moving towards.
Great. Well, I think we are almost precisely at time. Look at that. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about your marketing practice.
Sure.
So, Darren Wilson, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
So next up, we have Melanie Babcock-Brown, who has a very interesting role at the Home Depot. So please welcome her. You have the mic? This is for you. Let me set you up with the water here, please.
Thank you.
Please have a seat.
I wore green to stand out, but up here, blend in. It's like a green screen. Okay.
All right. So maybe you can get us started. I don't know if everyone here has heard of the Home Depot.
We're a small home improvement retailer
Yeah.
with 2,000 stores.
Yeah.
Maybe one near you.
Yeah. And in the top five e-commerce retailer.
Yes.
Which I don't know if everybody is fully aware of.
Yeah, we got a lot of traffic.
So that's a pretty amazing business. So let's start there.
Okay.
How Home Depot's online, how the .com presence has evolved over the years, and how Home Depot made this pretty incredible transition from pure play brick and mortar to a really significant online business as well.
Sure, I'm happy to talk to you about that. So Home Depot invested in the .com space in early 2000s, and it really was a true afterthought. And I think over the 2000 time period, it was treated more like another store, just the online store. So it was resourced that way, it was structured that way, it was thought that way. It's just another store. And at that time, we were opening stores every day, every week in different markets. So why not open this store? But within the last, I would say, 8 to 10 years, we've had quite a different perspective on the value that e-commerce is for a home improvement customer. So a home improvement customer does a lot of research before they consider or even shop for a product. A little bit different than a mass retailer. You're entering into a project where you may not necessarily have the understanding or confidence to complete a project, let alone know all the products and tools that you need, or even the timing that would take to produce that product. So our site turned into the first step for a customer to engage with our brand in seeking out this information. And it became a massive part of our business. And frankly, it's the #1 growth channel in our entire company today. It also has produced a significant amount of data for us that is unbelievably valuable. So if you ask our CEO, what's the most important thing about our business, he will always say our stores and associates. But the Melanie Babcock edition, right underneath that, is our data. We have a lot of data, and that website really generates really strong customer signals that allow us to anticipate what projects you're in, what product level that you're in, and what style you are. So it really is now a real big opening to understanding our customer. I can go on about this, but also it is a huge driver of traffic to our stores. So I think that when I read media, it's interesting being inside of a retailer where media keeps talking about the importance of the e-com for a retailer, when in actuality, it's the importance of the store and e-com together. And our customer uses both of those avenues very strategically when completing their projects. And even though they may start at the e-commerce side, they significantly, almost all the time, end up in the store. And that's a huge interconnected strategy that we purposely build around for our customer.
Can you share some? You shared some figures with me that were astounding.
I talk a lot.
Can you still share those figures
Sure.
about that online-offline relationship?
So there's about a 65 to 70% crossover of people who start online and end up in our store. That's how important it is. We also see significant use of our app in our online site in the aisle. I think a lot of people go online, can do a lot of consideration, and they go into the store, and I see some head nodding, so maybe this is your behavior too, to go in the aisle and go, okay, here are my 3 or 4 things that I was looking at online. Now I can see it physically, I can touch and feel, and I'm gonna purchase. We've also made significant investments into our supply chain over the last 10 years, and now we have, I don't know if you know this about us, but we can deliver too, all within a day, especially to your job site if you're a construction person, next day. But we have really invested in our ability to ship, and one of the biggest investments we made was buy online and pick up in store, which if you're in a project, think about that. It's you, maybe your spouse or your partner, and your contractor. There's 3 of you in this relationship. And so now with buy online, pick up in store, you can assign that pickup to somebody else, like a contractor. So we see a significant lift between people buying online, coming in store, and then buying more. Wow, that's a lovely thing for us. So it is a huge relationship that we've created and convenience for our customer to assign that responsibility to someone to pick up, but also when they're in store, they buy more.
Yeah. So we're going to get to Home Depot's data and
My favorite
power
topic.
of audiences. I know that's your favorite topic, so I promise you we will get to that. Before we do, I did want to touch on the that kind of sort of project phenomenon that you mentioned, right? Because that's a little counter to from a lot of what we see in sort of like e-commerce purchasing.
Yes.
So can you talk a little bit about how HomeDepot.com has evolved over the years to sort of cater to that experience? I mean, you've touched on some of those elements, but maybe you could paint that picture a little bit more?
Sure, and we're continuing to evolve too, so I have to give credit to that team. Unlike a mass retailer, we're not an item seller, we're a project seller. And that is a unique position for the Home Depot and, frankly, a unique responsibility to our customer. And when that is the case, you have a lot of emotion, a lot of expense, a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of knowledge that you have to overcome and help the customer overcome during all stages of that project. Versus maybe if you're shoe shopping, which I'm an expert at, you just walk in, buy the shoes that you would like. In this case, it can take someone 6 months to make a decision about a paint color. And so when you talk about project selling, you have to really overcome all of these different concerns for your customer. So how do you deliver that experience online while maybe you are item shopping? Maybe you do just want to go in and get patio set. My former patio merchant's here with me, so I'm giving her a nod. Please buy your patio at Home Depot, please. It'll make her happy. But maybe you're going in buying an item, so you have to really cater your site to balance out how people shop traditionally for a product, as well as provide help. And so we use our investing heavily in our AI around delivering the right product and building our knowledge graph to make sure that you are seeing an array of products that are helpful to you in your project, because we hear all the time. It's funny, as someone who works for Home Depot, people will come up to me and tell me their Home Depot experiences. I was at your store 5 times this weekend. I was replacing a faucet and I forgot XYZ. And that is a very common story that we all hear working at Home Depot. So how can we prevent those extra shopping trips by telling you, by the way, do you have all of these things? So we're really improving our search results and our cart results with those additional products to help you complete that project.
Right. The 2,000 people that were also buying these goods needed this stuff to complete their project, right?
That's right.
All right, that's a great segue. So I think you have a fascinating and unique job. Maybe I'm mistaken. But can you, what's your title?
Okay. My title is, I'm the Senior Director of Social Media, Agile Marketing, and Strategic Partnerships.
Great.
So I have 3 independent teams that work all together.
Let's unpack that a little bit. So
Okay.
can you talk about kind of those 3 different areas, and then we'll delve into each?
Well, this is a lesson in, if you want to build it, you can at Home Depot, and then add to your title. Yeah.
Culture of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
We'll
Entrepreneurship is a big part of our culture, so it's very much a part of mine as well. So I came to Home Depot to build a social media practice. Frankly, I came to Home Depot to build a social commerce practice, and that was in 2013, that was early days for that. And so built the social media practice. We now have a 33-person social media team who buys, creates, and community manages and responds to customers. So that's one of those groups. And then I was asked to build our audience marketing team. So how do we leverage the power of Home Depot data to identify customers who are in really big renovations or in a big life stage? So think of like redoing your kitchen or your bath. Those are big, complicated projects. So how do we use our first-party data effectively to target people to start that journey with Home Depot and then continue it throughout that project? So that's what my agile marketing team is. We do a lot in test versus control, incremental sales as our primary measurement. And the last is strategic partnerships, and that was born out of a relationship that I have with our Facebook and Pinterest and Kenshu partners, which is why I'm up here today, where they help me expand and become make Home Depot more competitive in the marketplace through an exclusive opportunity that we form and craft together.
What a wonderful segue. I think we should talk about that.
Okay, let's do that.
So no, I mean, Home Depot is thinking, I think, in a very innovative way about some of these things. So this is part of what we were talking about at the top, about the lines blurring, right?
Yes.
You have Home Depot, a formerly traditional, brick and mortar retailer, huge e-commerce business, and now perhaps, publisher. Activating online ad dollars.
That's
Can
right.
you talk a little bit about some of the things you're doing there?
Yes. So I know a lot of you are probably very familiar with this space with other retailers. So we always feel like we're the last at the party, but in some cases we feel first. A home improvement retailer is filled with multiple types of customers, whether a pro or a DIYer, but really when you think about it, it's a vendor. Very much like Zenith, they want to come to Home Depot and be able to market their product effectively to customers who are in market for their product. In my situation, they would be in market because they're renovating their home or they're moving. And so how do we help that vendor use our data to identify those customers and help them able to market to that customer with Home Depot? So we are in the process of building our kind of on-property products, and my partners here today are the ones who are actually responsible for that, so I'm not going to take credit for all that work. But so again, sponsored ad products, different banner opportunities. We have a catalog, if you didn't know that, and email. So any owned property, we're going to open that up for advertising to our vendors and using our first-party data to access those customers who are signaling they're in a project. Then my project that I'm partnered with you guys, poor Steve Williams, I called him last year. I'm like, I have an idea. I need to talk to you. And so now we have something called dynamic media, where we've built a portal which Kenshu powers the behind the scenes parts of it, where they are actually bidding and buying the ads on our behalf, first through Facebook, now Pinterest, and we're turning on Google. And that is their ability, any vendor of any size, to come in and buy media and target people who have abandoned their product pages or their carts. So basically, Home Depot retargeting. And so that's been successful mainly because going back to kind of that traditional way that Home Depot is, we've always had co-op dollars and worked with our top tier vendors, think Samsung and Moen and the big guys. But it's hard for the little guys to work with Home Depot marketing in an event time period or with a special campaign. So these types of offerings that both Gila and I are developing really speak to all levels of vendors. And we have 6,000 vendors, and they all want to participate, and this gives them that opportunity.
I don't think everybody is necessarily familiar with co-op programs. Can you speak to the scale at all? Because I think that really puts things into perspective here.
So our co-op dollars are extremely important to us for many reasons, not only because they're dollars and they are additive to our budgets, and they really drive foot traffic to our stores and to our site during key events throughout the year, but they also help bolster our different departments and their product launches that occur all year long. So it's a fundamental part of our advertising program. but it also does show commitment by the vendor to the Home Depot. And that is another part, I think, part of the handshake with our vendor. So we, as good stewards of their brands, need to develop and expand and modernize, frankly, their ability to spend. When I just heard that Zenith spends 30% of their dollars with Amazon, it's a little bit of a heart clutch moment because he doesn't necessarily have a good opportunity with Home Depot, but he does now, right? So maybe 18 months ago, he would have said, well, geez, I don't have that with Home Depot. So how do we cater to the needs of all of these vendors? Because co-op is so fundamentally important to how we operate our day-to-day business, to the point where we are actually building teams around helping expand the opportunity for all vendors to participate with Home Depot. That's how important it is, like super important.
Darren, you caught that? Okay.
Dynamic media.
And you actually, when we had that workshop at our offices a couple months ago, you brought up something really interesting.
Ooh.
That this program, designed for the long tail, we've co-developed to activate co-op dollars online. But there was something that happened there that it turned out it was activating net new, right? It was some brand dollars or something to that effect. So
what we're finding is, co-op dollars. I don't know if you're familiar with this, so I'm sorry if you are, but like co-op dollars from a vendor are it's a certain specific part of their budget. And same budget every year seems to be the tone. And so what we would like to do is access more national brand dollars. So how do we do that? And how do we create opportunities for our vendors to do so? And we believe that our data is really where that's going to make that difference, right? And so when we launched Dynamic Media, we found our vendors came to us and they said, oh, great. This is an opportunity where we feel like it's like any other media investment that we're making. So this would not be a co-op expense. This would be a brand dollar expense because we're promoting our brand, even though it's on your property. So that was a huge shift for us. Like I said, co-op is really, really important to us. So how do we continue to innovate and provide products based on data and provide those insights back to our vendors so they can continue to see value in investing in a national brand dollar?
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
So to close it out, same question I asked Darren. Looking out 12 to 24 months, what are you really excited about, either at the Home Depot or just things that are happening in the industry that you're really interested in?
Personally, I've never been so excited about my career. The Home Depot has provided a wealth of opportunity they allow you to learn in huge and big ways. And because of the Home Depot brand, you get the best partners on earth. I just want to let you know that. It's really fantastic. So I appreciate the Home Depot. For us, I think I'm going to speak for both of us, is building this product. We are building a business inside a Home Depot. That doesn't have a product, like a true on-the-shelf product. And so for our company, we're really, I think, looked at as innovators, which will then bleed into other parts of marketing. Measurement, the collection and use of our data at scale, audience development. We have 700 in-market audiences. How do we leverage those in-market audiences on behalf of our vendors outside of just what we're thinking about today? So our runway for this product is really expansive and large, and we're really excited to bring it to the market.
And we are excited to partner with you on it. Thanks. So thank you. Thank you, folks. I hope this was interesting. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Darren.